Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Heath Franco, and this is the man you see behind you on the TV screens, on every single one of them, in various guises. Heath's been here all week helping us put this show together. This was a dream of mine about, 12 months ago, Heath, would that be about right?
Yeah.
Is that fair enough?
Even longer, maybe.
Even longer. I was privileged enough to see Heath's big debut show at Gallery Pom Pom in Sydney. The show was called Dream Home, which is this dual channel work in here. And it was fantastic. It was absolutely amazing. It was such a fresh breath of air, to see this absurd work, and it was hilarious, and the opening was packed, and there was a real buzz around Heath's work and a real excitement about this fresh young artist, and I had to have him. I had to get him to Wagga. So we started putting together an idea for a survey show here in Wagga, which is basically showing Heath's work from 2011 to 2014. So there's some writers have stated, Heath, that they see your works as brutal, disturbing, often amusing psychological portraits of suburban life.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about the work? I
don't intentionally make it to be that.
Yeah.
But, not particularly focused on suburban, but I live in the suburbs, so
yeah.
That's my reality,
Yeah.
I have a job in the suburbs also, so I get to see the local community.
So is that where these characters are coming from there?
That's been something that in past things people I've said, and then I've sort of regretted in a way of saying that the people at the pub that I meet. But it's everyone I meet all over my life,
Sure.
But I get to know people more intimately in that role as a bartender at the pub.
Yeah.
And you get to meet people that, they're not the kind of regular people that you'd meet. And also after having a few drinks, they reveal parts of their personality that they don't most times in public.
Sure.
So all that does influence me, definitely, and shows me different sides of human nature. But I think it's been unfairly sort of made me sound like I'm making fun of the people or
sure.
parodying.
But you're not. There's an honesty. There's a real honesty to these characters that I don't feel you're making fun of them all. But
that's good.
I don't get that.
No, and that's why I like to use myself as well. Like I like to work alone, and I'd feel uncomfortable directing people to do these things that I'm fine to do myself.
Yep.
And also like the exploration in that, and the improvisational performance.
Yeah.
Like that's very exciting to me, and I want to experience that myself. So
yeah.
That's a big joy in making the works as well. So.
I kind of see the works as a bit of an extension of a painterly portraiture tradition.
Yeah.
Is that intentional? Do you feel that? Do you feel
again, that's not intentional,
like
but
kind of
living.
It's a living painting. It's a moving, although it's an absurd cut up and an absurd, Dadaist premise. It's still,
they are constructed with layers like you would a painting, and there is a lot of care put into the compositions. I spend a lot of time moving things around the screen, making sure it's in the right spot.
Let's talk about that for a moment then. The $2 shop aesthetics.
Yeah. That's really a practical thing.
You must have like this whole room of just like
that's my studio.
Is that your studio?
It's a pile of mess, it's a pile of costumes and masks and.
So Heath Franco making work, right? In his studio. Is it literally you with a camera and a green screen?
Yeah.
Playing around like a kid,
That's right,
like trying on costumes and.
That's exactly right.
Is that what happens? Is that how it comes
Pretty
together?
much, yeah.
Is there premeditated characters devised beforehand, or is it kind of just play? Or
look, there's a bit of a mix.
Okay.
So some characters they sort of reappear, and that's not in, like I don't go in there that day going I'm going to use that character. It just sort of happens again at the time when I notice that and think I'd like to reintroduce a different version of that character.
Yeah.
It could be like the same guy or slightly different, like related maybe. Like for instance, you got the guy with the silver cowboy sort of guy in that, and this one, and you also got the red-haired sort of aggressive.
He's around here as
bully
well.
guy
And,
in both these videos as well.
Sure. So.
But they're not exactly the same person, but they are. I don't want to sort of give the characters names or anything like that. They're just materials to use.
You have become quite well known in what I would call a relatively short period of time.
Yeah.
You're just very distinctive voice in Australian contemporary video art. There's no mistaking Heath Franco. Absolutely none, which is fantastic. But where do you see the future? Like where do you see this going? Because that could be a double entendre. That could be forcing you into a box that you then feel that you can't get out of. I'm just curious as to how you feel about that, and where you see your future going with this sort of work.
Not quite sure, I feel like this is the first time in my life where I've actually had a sort of body work that is cohesive over a number of years. So that's kind of new to me. I was always the kind of person who wanted to make the next thing I did totally different to the last, which was fun because I got to experiment, but was also sort of ultimately leaving you a bit empty because you couldn't find what you were talking about. You didn't have any sort of continuity between things, and as far as art career, that also makes it very difficult to get known and have exhibitions when you don't have anything that people can kind of put their finger on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, and that I do say that's unfortunate because not encouraging experimentation is dangerous, I think, and not good for art.
Sure.
Thankfully it does. I mean, on the large scale, it's one of the only industries that I've found that encourages you in a way to try something new.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the commercial side of it sort of gets you into a box.
Sure.
And I don't want to get stuck doing the same thing, but I feel that I've still got a little bit more that I want to do with this style of stuff because I'm enjoying it.
Yep.
And because there's so many sort of different elements that go into making it, I feel that I can tweak little different bits and still find a whole new way that keeps it exciting for myself.